right now, right?
We're gonna go under in a few minutes, man. But yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it. But definitely, I know, good guy, man. I mean, and I've got nothing bad to say about anybody. Like everybody I've worked with and talked to, and everybody's pretty cool, man. It's like, I mean, I want nothing but the best for you guys. That's why when it's like, okay, now you got to fight somebody it's kind of, for me personally, I'm like, damn, I'd rather not see that fight. But
yeah. There was a moment when I was on top of him and I was hitting him, and I was like, there was a split moment that I was like, fuck, I don't want to really do this to them.
Let me go live real quick, Buzz. You see, and I'll definitely, we'll talk on that just because, like you said, there's no animosity. There's nothing. It was just like, you know what, I got to fight this guy. And, I mean, like I said, both you guys signed that dotted line and got it going, man. Let me see, we are about ready. And hello, everybody. Spider here, the Fight Card Podcast, coming to you once again from downtown San Antonio. As always, well, not as always, but returning guest, man, Chris Kuntschik, man. How are you, my man?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
And, bro, I want to say happy birthday, my man.
I appreciate it. 35 years today.
Man, you see, I was going to say I wish I could go back to 35, but I don't even remember what that felt like. But yeah, man, I mean, talking about age, how many years have you been competing in mixed martial arts?
I think I had my first fight when I was possibly 18 or maybe 17 going on 18. It was they had like these pancration smokers, so it was pretty much like MMA, but open palm.
Right.
And I mean, those are just as devastating. I mean, it doesn't count against an official record or anything, but those were real fights.
No, you see, and the fact that you mentioned that says our age, because the time that I was training, it was actually before Texas allowed closed fists, man.
Right.
So it was an open hand.
Wasn't it like Renegades or something?
Yeah, well, Renegades was one of them. I mean, for me, I know some of the guys that I trained with. We used to go to Battle at the Beach. We used to go to Talent Challenge out there in the valley. But everything was open hand inside a ring or a wrestling match, bro. I mean, they just throw them on the floor. Let's go, man.
Yep.
Match everybody up and get the show going. But man, you were out last night watching the fights, man. UFC 271.
Oh yeah, I was out at Little Woodrow's having a little birthday celebration with a couple friends and my girlfriend, and we was all just having a good time, checking out the fight. Alex fought last night, so it was a big night.
No, for sure, man. And I mean, of course, the guy is local to San Antonio. I know he's been training in Colorado for a few months.
A couple years already.
Well, I know. Was he back and forth? Because I know he.
Somewhat. He'll come down here for a couple weeks at a time,
Oh, okay.
But I think most of his training is up there with Factory X.
No, definitely, man. And I know. He came out short last night, man. I know it's one of those. He looked good in round one.
Hey, he looked real good.
Round two, of course, his opponent, and this is just from the weigh-ins, man. When I saw him, I was like, damn, is he fighting a middleweight? Because that guy was.
I actually said the same thing. I was like, he looked like he about 185.
Yeah, he was big frame. I mean, I'm pretty sure, man, he must have weighed in back at 175, 180 at most, bro. But not, Alex being the fighter, of course, he stepped up, signed that contract, and like I said, last night wasn't for him, but it doesn't deter anything from him, man. I mean, the guy back in the heyday when he first started, of course, he was fighting at 145.
Right.
I don't know if he could make 145 again.
I would like to see him give it a good shot. I know he, like we were saying, he's a pretty stocky dude, but I think at the UFC level, man, like those guys are. I don't know if they're cutting so much weight or they just have a better science to it or what, but from every weight class, they're huge.
Yeah.
I think Alex, he's got a little bit of that Chad Mendez build. So I would like to see him at least try once to go at 145.
No, definitely, man.
Interesting matchups down there for sure.
No, dude, I mean, it's just as hot as a 155. 155, 170. I mean, of course, those are freaking crazy weight classes right now. Talking about weight classes, man, you just came off a fight last Sunday, actually. That's a week ago.
Yeah.
And have you been back to training since then?
Oh, yeah. I've trained probably a few times this week already. It's hard for me not to train. I can't just really sit at home. I get a lot of anxiety and stuff. So I popped into the gym here and there, went and taught a couple classes, things like that. So it's
stay
good.
Busy, right?
Yeah, just stay busy.
And I was gonna say, did you train or did you go home and get fat, man? Cause
I'm actually about 148 right now, so it's not too bad. I actually weighed in the night of the fight 153, and then sometimes if I eat junk food, it's probably because I'm not drinking enough water right now. Drinking
yeah.
a little bit of beer, so it drops my weight a little bit from dehydration. But
no, I mean, no doubt, man. Now, I mean, as far as we talked about this fight earlier, man. Well, even just coming in here, you fought Joe Salcedo.
Right.
Now, you guys both made it was a catch weight at 140.
Yeah, catch weight at 140. I think both of us weighed in right underneath the mark. 139 for me. I think 138 for him.
And could you have made 135?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I could. I fight at 135 for the most part. In fact, I can probably make 125 if I really put my mind to it.
If they give you a good enough matchup, right?
They give me a good enough matchup. I know, like I said, me and David Waters talked about fighting in the past. We never really got to hook that fight up, but I know he's coming off a win also in Fury.
Right.
So I mean, who knows? Maybe we could see that down the line.
By all means, bro. And I mean, no disrespect to him. I mean,
nah, not at all.
As competitors, as a fan, I want to see that fight.
Yeah, no, that'd be a good scrap. Both of us got decent ground game, really decent striking, so I think that would actually be a really good fight. And if I'm not mistaken, he's ranked top 10. I hope I'm saying this right.
125.
125. Yeah. So I mean, if I could go down there and possibly pick up a win over him, I mean, dang, that puts me in a nice spot.
Yeah. No, and of course, like I said, I mean, this is a business, so these are just some of the matchups that you would want to test yourself against, right?
There's a couple guys, me and Ray, we have in mind, matches that's been offered or didn't come through and stuff like that. So I have my eyes on a few people.
You see, and let me ask you, because I remember back in the day, like for King of Combat, XFC, all these shows, a lot of locals, every time I see him out there, I'll be like, man, you fighting? And they're like, oh, no, but I'm supposed to fight that guy. I want to see what he's got. And this is before internet, because of course you couldn't get footage. So
right.
So a lot of the guys would pop up and just to see the competition and kind of, and I thought it was cool, because at the same time, I mean, you're supporting the sport, right? So you go out there and watch fights, but I mean, for you back in the day, how was your mentality back then? Because it had to be a lot less stressful, man, because you really didn't know anything about your opponent.
Right. To be honest, back in the day when I first started, I was a little young, so I was a little naive to the sport. I don't know. I should have done a little bit more training in the beginning, but I was more in my head back then, worried about what everyone's doing, how good they are, things like that. Sometimes I go to King of Combat and I'm like, damn, that guy would probably knock my head off. You know what I mean? Things like that. But
pressure yourself before the fight.
Yeah, exactly.
And let me ask you, man, because obviously you said you grew up in Gonzales, Texas.
Yeah, Gonzales, yeah.
And I know that last time you were here, you had talked about doing something and maybe going back and giving back to the community, right? Because it's a small town.
I really I need to get the time to really see what I need to do about that, but there's really no martial arts down that way. I know in Luling, King Webb used to have a MMA program. Right. I don't know if that's still around or what they got going on, but in Gonzales there's really nothing. And Zachary Reese, he's a bad mamma jammer. He's an amateur guy. Yeah. I know he's from Shiner, Texas, which isn't far from Gonzales, and I know he was making a trip 3 or 4 times a week up here to train with Ray.
Right.
And then also I think he trains at War in Houston. So I mean, guys that are traveling that far, it'd be nice if I could somehow open up a gym down there and kind of give back to the community. Or I even talked about trying to do some seminars or something.
Right.
For the community, for the kids, maybe get with the school and see if I can do something. That would be, in my opinion, that'd be good for Gonzales.
No, I mean, for sure, man. And I mean, the fact that you grew up there, I mean, growing up there, what did you have growing up, man?
So the only martial arts growing up they had was a little taekwondo school. So I did taekwondo for a few years, and that's actually the only thing I know as far as martial arts. Other than that, we have football, baseball, basketball, but all that couldn't happen until, I guess, junior high school. Now they got Pop Warner, all that stuff, but back then they didn't have nothing.
And of course, I always judge the small towns compared to, is there an HEB over there?
There is an HEB, but back in the day, it was, I think HEB was just coming around. There was a place called Super S.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
and then there was another one, everyone remembers Handy Andy.
Oh, yeah.
But before Handy Andy, it was called Weast.
Yeah?
Yeah, Weast. I don't know.
That's old, bro.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Had one Dairy Queen, one McDonald's, and a whole bunch of Mexican restaurants.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
You got it, man. And I mean, being Gonzales, what's around there? I mean, what's the, I guess, for work? Were people driving outside the city? Or
okay, so when I lived there wasn't, everyone was traveling outside the city. They would go to the Shiner Bock Brewery where they brew the beer. A lot of people were working out there. There's a feed manufacturing place, Purina.
Okay.
Everyone worked at Purina. Or there was a mushroom farm, Kitchen Pride Mushrooms, I believe.
Yeah.
And I actually worked there as my first job. And dude, I think I was getting paid like $6 an hour.
Damn.
And it was like no overtime. We were like contracted employees. And so sometimes we'd work like
from sun up to sundown,
yeah, for $6 an hour.
Damn. And let me ask you, for me, I always get a kick out of small towns for one thing. A lot of times they get civilized, or they kind of like, hey, let's live here because of work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it happens. I know. I mean, there's a small town. I think it was like north of Dallas or east of Dallas, but it was supposed to be there. It was like a small town to where back when they were, you know, alcohol was banned.
Mm-hmm.
They were the only ones that could actually make it, or
wow.
And it's just, that's how the town grew, because they were like, well, man, everybody's.
I wonder if they were on like Indian reservations or something.
I don't know,
because that's pretty close to Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, probably, man. Because I know when I read about it, I was like, dude, that's pretty cool, man. I think I was looking up like the smallest town in Texas or something like that, and that one popped up. But you know, it's just it's like Vegas, bro. You know, people. You know, the casinos popped up, and everybody just kind of moved in because oil. I mean, there's big oil.
It's the same thing with Gonzales now. It's a big oil town. They have a lot more stuff now than they did when I grew up.
And family, man, are they still out there?
Yeah, I have an uncle and some cousins, and my grandmother still lives out there. They've been living in the same place. You know,
when was the last time you made the drive?
Man, it's been a while. I actually need to get out there again and go see my grandma and stuff. But it's been a while since I've been to Gonzales. I was actually talking to my girlfriend just the other day. I was like, hey babe, like I'd like to just like load the truck up and throw the guns in there, and let's go out to Gonzales and just go out in the field and screw around with the guns and stuff. See my grandma, go see my dad's grave. You know, my dad passed away when I was 14. I haven't been to his grave in years, so.
Yeah. No, definitely, man. And I mean, it's the same here, bro. I mean, my pops passed away, you know, early 90s, man. And I mean, the last time I was there, just to pay my respects, was years back. And he's locally, and it's just, for me, it's more like, you know, I remember him being around me, and I just kind of keep those happy thoughts going, you know. It's like, I don't want to go to his tombstone and kind of like, hey, he's gone, because, you know, he's not, man. I still have a lot of him in me, you know, just a work ethic and everything else, just so. But yeah, man. But the reason I was asking is because even if you maybe you make the trip out there, you can go around, man, and see if there's a YMCA or something where you can talk to and see about setting up a program or something.
Yeah, I definitely would like to work towards that for sure, because man, if I could figure out a way, because like rent's a little expensive down there for everything because it is an oil town.
Oh yeah.
But if I could figure out some way to open up a little martial arts school, I have a guy that I went to school with, David Pena. He's actually competed in boxing for a little while. He might have trained with Nick Gonzalez for a little bit, I'm not sure. But me and him have been in the DMs kind of talking about, hey man, like if we can set something up, maybe we could work together, but just hasn't came to fruition yet, yeah.
No, yeah, but I mean, it'd be good to go back home, you know, if anything, see the family and, get something going, man, because, I mean, obviously San Antonio, I mean, now New Braunfels has gyms, you know, like you said, Lulling, all these small towns, of course, you know, people live there, so they popped up gyms and whatnot. So
and there's some very talented country boys down there that do nothing but hard work, bale hay and things like that. Like the guy I just talked about from Shiner, Zachary Reese. He's a freaking monster, a huge guy. He probably walks around like 210 pounds, 220 pounds, fights at 185. And I want to say his only loss ever was to Kevin Holland in the amateur ranks. Yeah. And I think he lost a decision in a close fight.
Right.
So he is tough as nails. And I think at one point when he was fighting up in peak, he was only training like 3 times a week. And he was just running through people.
Damn.
Yeah.
And that's the guy's training with you guys right now?
I don't know where Zachary's training right now. I think he's training at War for his fights. I don't think he's had a fight recently. I haven't talked to him in a while. I saw that he congratulated me on my fight, but I haven't really chopped it up with him too much.
To see what he's up to, man. And bro, I mean, it's your birthday, man. What do you have planned for today, man?
Today, I'm probably just going to relax, probably go eat some sushi after this.
Oh, nice.
Probably go see my mom. Just normal shit.
And it's a Sunday, bro. And that's kind of what I was telling you last week, or the last time you were here, was your mentality for a Sunday. It's got to be like, hey, go home, take off your shoes, and watch TV, man.
Yeah.
And last Sunday you were fighting, man. So Did that bother you? I mean, mentally, are you thinking like, man?
I don't really like fighting Sunday earlier in the day. Like I said, I did say it's all right, but like for example, people got stuff to do. A lot of the guys I sold tickets to wanted to come see me fight. Whenever they got there, like, I missed it. Sorry, man. Like, had this and that, and so Sundays is a little messed up, but we'll work with it. I got the win. That's all that matters.
No, for sure, man. And of course, I mean, you got a submission. I think you have brought it up, man. You were able to lock in a one-arm rear naked choke.
Yeah, one-arm rear naked choke, man.
Yeah, and I know the commentators, and when I heard it too, I was kind of like, man, I've seen it happen. I guess, and a lot of times, I guess it depends on the opponent. I mean, whether he's tired or his arm's trapped or whatever the case may be, but I mean, you can still lock it in, though.
Yeah, and me and Loham were talking about it. Me and Loham, we've trained Nogi a lot, and he's seen me get that submission. He uses that submission, and like when I heard the commentators say that, I was like, have y'all never like done that? And then it was kind of like I felt like it were taken away from me. Not only taken away from me, maybe taken away from my opponent, but they really didn't see how I set that up in the transition. There was some stuff I was doing in there to get that one-arm choke. I actually went for the one-arm choke immediately when I got his back, but he was real quick to grab the arm.
And when you locked it in, did you grab your shoulder? I mean, how was it that...
Okay, so how I set that up is in the transition, I was attacking with both my hands.
Right.
I was kind of fishing with both my hands. He grabbed one and pulled it down. And then what I do is I shoot the blade of my hand up under his chin. And initially, you don't have the choke. You take your fingertips and you start kind of walking your fingertips up towards his shoulder.
Right.
Once you get his shoulder and the blade of your hand is on his like trachea and throat, you kind of pull it to the side and extend your hips, and that's what creates the choke.
No, yeah, especially because that bone right there, man. That's hard, bro.
Yeah.
You can definitely, and I know back in the day, man. But back when I was rolling around and doing jiu-jitsu and grappling, I used to always tell people like when I had an opponent, I was a pressure guy. Like even if I was in a bad spot, I would start putting pressure on the arm or the leg, and they would react.
Make them give it up, right?
Yeah, like they kind of would like either move away or they create space themselves, and they kind of gave me an opportunity to scramble. But I mean, like you said, I mean, the fact that you say you want your hand on there, I'd probably be distracted and be like, dude, what the hell is this guy doing, man?
Right, and then like I felt like, they're just like kind of taken away from my opponent. They're like, oh, well, he's going to regret accepting that position. But I'm like, bro, he didn't accept nothing. Yeah. I made him give it up. I made him give up everything, It's so crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I wish that I would have got submission of the night, but I don't know if it was because I was on the prelims or what. But
I think so, man, because I think normally...
I know in Houston they do that. Like, they give out more bump boxes in Houston than they do in San Antonio sometimes, depending on what kind of event. But I thought I could have got a bump box from that. So
I wonder, man.
I wonder if Trey the Truth ever watches that stream and he sees it, maybe he'll hook me up or something.
There you go. Don't send it to Gonzalez. He's not up there yet, bro.
Right, yeah.
Here in town. And today, man, I mean, you were talking about actually you're going to be relocating here in the city?
Yeah, I'm going to be moving to the Live Oak area. I'm going to be a lot closer to everyone in my life, my girlfriend, my family, and stuff like that. I would live way over here in medical, so it's hard getting... So I have a dog, too, so it's hard leaving work, going and checking on my dog, then driving, either driving to Ohana HQ or driving all the way to the south side to Ray's Gym, or even driving... Sometimes I go to Calabria and... Calabria Combat to train with Mitman Joe. So I run all over the city, and I just think if I move to Live Oak, like, I have people there that can help me. Like, they'll go into my apartment and let my dog out if I need to.
Definitely. Because, I mean, like you said, you have him in the kennel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. And I'm the same way, man. Like, sometimes I get to drive around a lot for work, so it's like I'll be around the area. I'll go home and put them out, put them back in, and sometimes you can't, man. And it's like, damn, as soon as you get home, they're ready, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
But let me ask you, man. Before this fight, you actually got to compete in the grappling tournament.
Yeah.
Now, are you doing that also again?
I might sign up for the Dallas Open. I don't know if it's closed or anything yet, but I did notice that guy Steve that runs the Submission Hunter. Right. I got added to the Submission Hunter group I guess they're doing an event in March. I don't know if that was by mistake, but usually what'll happen is Eric will just like offer me a match on the fly. I don't really apply for those things. Like he'll just like, hey, you want to jump in here with this guy or jump in here with that guy? And I'm sure.
And that's actually, I mean, as far as opponents, when it comes, because you are a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now, when it comes to opponents like that, like I said, you don't pick them, right? It's just pretty much what they match you up with.
And Submission Hunter, yeah, it's kind of just whatever they got. Like my last match, I went against a black belt in the Valley, and I won that one by head and arm guillotine. Then the match before that, I went against another black belt from 10th Planet. He ended up getting me in a heel hook or a straight ankle lock or something like that, but. I'd like to try to do that match again because I think I could have done better.
No, and I mean the fact that you mentioned, because when it comes to being a black belt, man, everybody still has a different style. Mm-hmm. Not everybody's trains the same. Not everybody the setups, everything's different, man. I mean, compared to the 10th Planet guys, because these guys are like freaking Gumby.
Mm-hmm. But, exactly.
So comparing him to the guy from the Valley, man, I mean. Obviously, there's a difference, right?
Big difference. The guy from the Valley was more like traditional grappler, He kind of, I think he pulled guard and tried to work butterfly and stuff. The guy from 10th Planet, he just slid right onto my leg and just started attacking it. And at one point, I told him I was sorry because I was trying to get out. I was trying to push on his butt, kind of, but my whole foot was actually going right into his crack. And I felt so horrible, and I kept trying to readjust it. Even when he was like attacking my leg, I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, bro, I'm sorry. He's like, you're good, and he's just trying to wrench my leg.
Dude, at that point, I don't think he cared, man.
Hey, I think he wanted that submission. I mean, they pay good money at Submission Hunter, so.
No, and that's another thing I was gonna tell you, man. Even at this level, tournaments like that, of course, you guys get paid, so it's not like. When you first start off and you gotta pay and then go weigh in and everything else, so now you're actually getting paid for your time.
Right, yeah.
And I mean, and that's another thing we talked about that before, man, because obviously all these years of training, I mean, you've trained with a lot of great people, a lot of different gyms, a lot of good, so the fact that you're molded yourself and it's your style, if you were to start your own style, man, like say if it was your school, like what would it be, man?
Like the name or the style? I've already heard of it. I want to put have like a little logo or whatever and say like Kunjitsu fighting systems, kind of like how Ray has Judge Jitsu and there's other stuff like that. I wanted Kunjitsu, but a lot of people say, hey Chris, I don't know, with like how things are these days, people might think you're a racist, and I was like, maybe, but I mean,
you see, but and I'll say this, man, because I'm gullible to a lot of stuff myself, and I'm in my freaking late 40s, bro, and so when I hear stuff, I don't see it. I'm just saying it because I'm being humble, and they're like, "Oh man, well you got to be careful because some people might misconstrue."
Right.
I'm like, dude, that's not my problem, man.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way. I'm a little old school. It's like if your feelings are hurt, that's on you.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Like I mean, I'm non-politically correct, bro. So I sometimes I say stuff and I'm like, okay, it's nothing bad, but it's just I know somebody's gonna get hurt, man.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, whatever, man. But yeah, man. I mean, and I was actually thinking about that name when you were driving up. I was like, man, I wonder if he named his school Kojitsu.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's got a good ring to it. I feel like the raccoon is kind of like likable by a lot of people. So if I made like a crazy raccoon or some logo, I think a lot of people would work with that.
And I see people posting videos of them and their pet raccoons, man. And I'm thinking, like, you know what? I've had like I mean, I have a lot of pets right now at home. Dude, we got turtles, we got birds, we got like a whole freaking dogs and everything. But I guess, I mean, have you ever had a pet raccoon?
I haven't. I've toyed with the idea and I've made some jokes. There was a meme going around for a while where I had like a raccoon in the front seat, and I would send it to my sister or to other people, being like, "Look what I got! Look what I got!" But, nah, I've never had one. We had some wild ones before. Like, I lived out in the country, so we would have some come up.
Yeah, you
sometime.
don't want those, man.
Yeah, they come up, steal the dog food that you leave out or whatever.
Right. No, you see, and that's what I was saying. I wouldn't even know how to. I mean, I guess like a dog. I guess I don't know, man. I mean, that's one of those I'll have to look up and see because I wouldn't know how to take care of one.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like a cat. You just let them shit off the table or what.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of classification they are. I thought they were marsupials, but I don't think they're that.
That's another good question.
Yeah.
I have no idea, man. I'll definitely look that up. but let me ask you. I mean, as far as fight time, I mean, how much time do you give yourself, man, before you step in the cage again?
I need to keep myself busy because I'm like a one-track minded guy. Like, I need to know, like, okay, you have a fight. if I get to where I'm stagnant, where it's like 3 or 4 months without a fight, I start kind of losing that fire and things like that. So I need to keep the boat rolling.
So even a grappling match right now would be.
Yeah, like any grappling match, anything that's gonna.
As long as they pay you, right?
Yeah, if they pay me, all good. I mean, IBJJF, you pay them. You know, they probably steal more money from anyone than anybody.
Yeah.
But
that's a different episode.
Yeah. But I'm down to. I like doing IBJJF stuff too.
No, I'm definitely, man. And let me ask you. I mean, of course, today is your birthday. You're 35 years young. Man, starting this off, I mean, would you have seen yourself where you are now, man? I mean, did you have like goals when you were like 10 years ago? Were you thinking like, man, you know what? I want to open my own school. I mean, what were you thinking?
10 years ago, I think like I said, I was a little more naive to the game, man. I thought by now I would be like in the UFC, like have some kind of stellar record and stuff like that. But then, the more you get into it, you start realizing, man, these guys with stellar records out here, they're workhorses, and they're few and far in between. Yeah. A lot of people will be like, hey, what's your record? You might have a 50-50 record or maybe like a little bit of a losing record, and they're like, oh, okay. But what they don't realize, guys that are like 14-3, 16-1, things like that, they're few and far in between.
Yeah. No, definitely, man. Because I know, Aaron Suarez, man, like, we talk about a lot of times when guys start off, their amateur records, they're undefeated. They go pro and they start losing, man. And a lot of it's the mentality, because now there's more pressure, because now, if you lose, it's on your record.
It's on your record, yeah.
And now let me ask you, I'm going to backtrack a little bit to your fight with Joe Salcedo, man. On this fight, like, we had talked about it earlier, and there was no bad blood. It was just you guys went out there and tested yourself, man. Because obviously, going into that fight, were you kind of thinking like he's gonna want to keep it on his feet?
Yeah, I kind of knew that was his thing. He was gonna try to keep it on the feet. He was gonna fire that left. My plan was to just kind of gauge the distance, kind of try to walk him down, use my head movement, and maybe possibly outbox him, and then eventually get it to the ground and finish it. But as I was walking him down, I kind of got a little lackadaisical. I threw a kick where I didn't, like, it was more like just a kick to throw out there,
right,
in which I said I wouldn't do, and I did, and he made me pay for it real quick. Good thing is I walked him down enough to where he was right there by my corner, and I knew that, and so I just rushed him and took him right down.
Once it hit the ground, did you know, like?
Yeah, he did some things he did really well was he controlled my underhook side, because I like throwing that right elbow.
Right.
And he was controlling that side pretty well. He wouldn't let me get that arm out. So I was having to kind of pity pat with the left hand, kind of small elbows until he was released that other arm, and then I was able to do a little bit more damage.
And now, of course, you're a mixed martial artist. You train in the MMA, you train in all aspects when it comes to the fight game, because, like the saying, man, sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail.
Right.
Now, when you're in training, and you've trained with Ray the Judge and the guys out there, and his team right now, he's got a lot of guys in competition, man. So there's a lot of people, even, what was it, Wednesdays, when he has the...
War Room Wednesday.
Yeah, bro. When you go out there, man, are you thinking, okay, I'm going to wreck house, or are you thinking, okay, I'm going to see what works, what doesn't?
Yeah, so War Room is like when everyone just goes in there and goes all out in the jiu-jitsu. And yeah, my point, I try to win, but I'm also like experimenting with my game with someone that's trying to kill me.
Right.
I get good rolls that day with like guys like Eddie. There's some jiu-jitsu guys over at Ray's. Gordy, he's a black belt. Justin's a black belt. We got Patty. Patty's a blue belt, but he's like a black belt in wrestling. You know what I'm saying? So that's good stuff. And we have all the black belts from BTT come over.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then Andy's getting ready for the ADCC trials. He's a really good brown belt. I get good rolls with him too.
And it's that day everything's no gi or gi?
It's a few rounds of gi, and then the rest are no gi.
And how long does it take, man? How long is it? Like a 45, 1 hour?
It's a 1 hour class. Oof. Yeah, 6-minute rounds, I think. Every once in a while, we'll throw in jits with hits, maybe some cage wrestling for the guys getting ready for fights.
And of course, I haven't been to that his new school, man. Have you been training out there also?
Yeah. It's still in the same shopping center as his old school,
Right.
but it's just like in a separate parking lot. So it's a
Oh,
lot bigger.
okay.
You know, they got restrooms in there. They got 2 mat areas, a little
I
bit of
saw
a cage.
that, man. I
yeah.
keep seeing his videos, and I'm thinking, damn, dude, I mean, he's got that whole cage set up,
And
right?
not only that, they got the Floresville location too, and
Yeah.
that place is nice. It's like a warehouse. They have full weights, huge mat area, like 3 garage doors that pull up, and then they have like a little backyard area where during the summer you can do like circuits and flipping tires and stuff like that.
And of course, where is that one at, man? I've seen it. I've been to Floresville doing deliveries, but I always, every time I'm out there, I'm like, man, I wonder if I'll see it. Is
Yeah,
it like,
so I don't know like streets and stuff in Floresville, but when you get into Floresville, there's like a Starbucks, I think, on your left.
right.
I think his academy is just a little bit further down. It's going to be on a right. If you don't look, you can kind of miss it. You got to go down like a little dirt path, and it's
You
out
see,
there.
and that was a small town talk, man, because every time I deliver out there, man, they're always like, oh, go to the red house on the left, and you're going to turn right after the broken down school
Hey, you
bus.
see that pile of leaves over there? Take a left at the pile of leaves. When you come to the leaves, you'll see a brown gate.
No, yeah, bro, I get those all the time, bro, and they're like, it's the biggest tree, you can't miss it. And I'm like, every tree's freaking big, dude, like,
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, it's funny, man, but yeah, I mean, coming from a small town, man, I mean, of course, how old were you when you moved to San Antonio?
I believe I was 18 years old. I had just graduated. I was living in Gonzales. Wasn't living the greatest life. Getting into a lot of trouble. So crazy story. Not like a lot of people know that when I decided I was gonna come up here, we was all hanging out in an apartment complex, drinking, you know, partying, and
Oh, yeah.
there was some bad guys out there, and someone I knew, you know, they took it upon themselves to go over there and kind of you know, like I guess there was like some kind of beef. I don't know. Regardless, big guns got brought out,
Damn.
and at that point I was like, I need to do something because I don't want to die. And it wasn't long after that my sister was like, dude, get your ass up here. And
Yeah, bro.
Come up
oh,
here.
Yeah, you see, and then that's, I mean, here in San Antonio, I mean, I've been through that, you know, back in the, when I was in high school in the 90s, early 90s, I mean, there was, you know, gang mentality was off the freaking wall, dude, and it was just...
Oh, it was bad in Gonzales for a while too.
No, yeah, and I'm sure it was everywhere, man. It's just, I don't know what movies were coming out. I think, somebody had told me one time, because I still skateboard, man, but I used to skateboard middle school, and he was like, yeah, dude, everybody went from being a skater to a gangbanger, man, because of that movie, and I forgot what movie he said, but I was like, man, that was just...
It wasn't Blood In, Blood Out, was it?
No, I don't remember which one it was, bro, but I know gangster rap started coming up, and that's kind of like where the whole, you know, NWA, I'm not saying they
F the
started it, but
police.
it's just, everything...
I'm not gonna lie. Whenever I first got a hold of that NWA CD, like I thought I was like a thug after listening to it. Like it was like weird. It was like the characters they played and stuff. I don't really believe that they were really like that, like how they rapped about, but like it made you feel that way.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, because I mean, you're watching it, you're listening to it, and you're thinking, well,
You're like,
shit,
yeah, fuck the
that's
police.
me,
You're right. Yeah.
And so you need help, and you're like, hey, where the hell's the police?
Yeah.
Yelling. Bro, but let me ask you, bro, because I mean, right now it's you, your dog, of course. I mean, you guys are relocating, going up to Live Oak. Live Oak's actually not a bad spot, dude, because you have 35, you have 1604. So I mean, it's a lot more, like you said,
Accessible.
yeah, be able to get out of the that traffic jam, you know, especially in the medical center area, man. But last year, bro, let me ask you, were you still living in the medical area when we had that freeze? Let me say.
I had just moved.
There?
Yeah, I had just moved there, and then everything went out, and I was in the process of moving, and then when the sun came out and I was able to get on the highway, I went to my old apartment and get a few things, and everything worked over there. And
Well, that's right. You did mention that.
yeah, I lived in like the hood, and I was like, wow, I should just have stayed here.
Run an outlet all the way over,
Yeah.
man. But I mean, during that time, the reason I'm asking is, San Antonio, the weather's crazy, bro. I mean, here one day it's hot as hell, and the next day it's freaking snowing, right? It's just crazy. But when people that aren't from San Antonio come over here, how do you explain the city to them? I mean, what do you tell them? Like, is it good? Is it bad? Or
Yeah, I tell them I like the city. I always tell them go to the Pearl, you know, things like that. Downtown is like the main spot that everyone wants to see, you know.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot to, you know, you can park somewhere and just walk out and go somewhere and venture, man. But yeah, I mean, and the reason I say that is because I'm always, I mean, being a military city, you know, of course, I mean, we still have a lot of active bases, but I always tell people, you know what, I mean, downtown is one of them. I mean, of course, you have the Alamo, you have But there's so much to see around the city, man. I mean, I know every like Stone Oaks, Live Oaks, every small section of town has their own little like festival and everything else. But right now, bro, Fiesta is gonna be upon us.
Is it coming?
Yeah, it's actually I think in the month.
I'm going because we haven't had it since the virus.
That's true, man. Well, last year it happened here. It happened late last year.
Oh, okay.
Because as a matter of fact, Jacob had brought that up because he was like, "Yeah, dude, we were here Fiesta," and I was like, "That's right, dude," because he was setting up and he was like, "Yeah, if you want to park, you just walk."
Well, y'all better have someone here watching the parking lot.
Well, they charge parking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so somebody volunteers and they
Good.
But I always just tell them I'm gonna work out and I just go out the back door.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. But I mean, are you a fan of stuff like that, man? I mean, when something happens, are you usually out there?
I try to. I would like to go to the rodeo and stuff, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. Shit's expensive, you know.
Oh, bro. And I was gonna say, man, somebody had brought up the whole Joe Rogan thing, and of course, him throughout the years, and I said, man, I'm more upset about the prices at these freaking Fiesta events, bro. Cause, I mean, parking's expensive, food's expensive. It's just like
everything at HEB is expensive now. I was looking like a freaking bag of dog food that was like $8 is now like $12. It's like, what the hell?
You see, and I mean, everything is going up, man. I mean, I usually rate my prices with gasoline, of course, because I do drive around, but I mean, the fact that it has gone up, and I mean, whether it will go down or not, I'm not sure, man. We'll see. But bro, I mean, as far as your fight, of course, you just fought in Fury. Are you on the UFC Fight Pass? Are you subscribed?
I am. I have a UFC Fight Pass. I'm subscribed to that.
And did you happen to catch the? I know there was like a whole bunch of events this weekend, man. But LFA, of course, was one of them. Anthony Pettis had his first event.
I didn't get a chance to see that. I was anxious to see how that went. I was watching some of the Fury event they had this past weekend too.
You see, and I logged on for just that, and for some reason I couldn't find it, so I ended up watching the Pettis fight.
I had a couple people say that they weren't able to say it. Sometimes it's confusing when you log on to Fight Pass. You don't really know what's live or what's upcoming.
Well, you see, and that's kind of I just I had to fish it out, and I'm like, okay, when I saw Pettis, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna watch this, man, and it was good, man. I mean, it's just that the whole Anthony Pettis. I mean, the fact that he actually changed the name from Showtime FC to Anthony Pettis Fighting Championship. Really? Yeah, so I thought that was interesting.
He has a management company as well, right?
Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff going on, man. I mean, I know he runs his gym, now the promotion. I mean, I can see the guy. Once again, I was telling Aaron Suarez, man, I said, dude, I can see people like Dustin Poirier, like doing his own promotion. I can see guys that have done this for so long, kind of like, you know what, might as well, get into business.
There's a lot of fighters that have their promotions. They just don't get talked about much because I want to say Derek Brunson. I thought I heard him in an interview say he's even got a promotion.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
You see, well, that makes sense. I know a lot of ex-UFC fighters are actually on there in Louisiana, especially, man. There's a couple out there. I mean, promotions like Peak Fighting. I know you said you had a teammate that's fighting on there.
Yeah, my little buddy Carlos Gutierrez. He's been training a couple years, man, and he's got a lot of talent. He's got a whole lot of talent, we're working with him, Ray is doing a good job with him, and his skills have gotten real high. He's 0-1 right now, but his one fight he had, he was really doing well on the feet. He fought a 10th Planet guy, ended up getting choked out, but I expect him to get a TKO or a knockout for sure in this next fight.
And I know last weekend, he actually had like 4 guys. Or 3 guys in the one female.
In the Peak, yeah.
They went out there to compete.
Yeah.
Does he have like something going with the Peak Fighting, or is he just
they reach out to Ray a lot. Ray has a good relationship with the guy up there. I was actually supposed to fight in Peak during COVID as well, because that was like the only promotion doing anything. I was supposed to fight the Binjar. I can't remember his first name. He fights out of like Dallas or something. Omar Binjar.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna fight him at 140, but like 3 days before the fight or a week before the fight, whatever happened. I was pretty upset about that.
No, you see, and that's a good thing you bring that up, man, because this past weekend at Fury, man. I mean, I know Jose Cabral. He was one of the guys. His opponent couldn't fly because of the weather.
Yeah.
So his fight got scratched, man. And I mean, when it comes to situations like that, man, how bad? I mean, does that kind of like deter you? You're thinking, shit, because there's fighters that, dude, I look up their records and they got like 5 canceled fights.
Yeah.
And it's back to back, and I'm thinking, man, at that rate, I'd be like, you know what, I'm just gonna freaking.
Yeah, man, it sucks. As long as they're paying you your show money, though, I would be okay, but I would be very frustrated. I haven't fought yet.
You see?
Pay me my show money, you know, at least for cutting weight and making all them sacrifices.
And then, of course, you know, selling tickets, man. So, of
Selling
course, you know,
tickets.
get something
Cabral
back.
was actually supposed to fight a guy I train with from time to time, Rusty Turley, but Rusty, like a month out from the fight, he ended up, like, I think, fracturing his orbital or something.
Is that from Ohana?
Yes, he trains out of Ohana Northeast with Josh Rosen.
Yeah, you see, and I was wondering what happened to that.
Yeah, he ended up, I guess he had an injury, like, during sparring, and I think he fractured, like, his orbital or something like that. So, I really wanted to see that fight, you know, Jose's a scrapper. I've known Jose for a lot of years. I've trained with him a lot. I've known Rusty for a few years now and gotten to train with him a few times, and I thought that was going to be, like, a really good fight.
No, definitely, because I know I know Cabral, like you said. I mean, he trained with Mike Rangel. I mean, this was after I left Mike Rangel's gym. But like, yeah, I mean, they're rough, dude. They're tough. Their grappling isn't. And I was telling Cabral when he was here, man. I told him. I mean, I used to go to other seminars and I used to go to other schools, and you know, I was told more than once that my style wasn't jiu-jitsu, man. It's just because it was like.
Because you train with Rangel, right?
Yeah, man.
Well, they do a lot of like. I call them muscle techniques, and that's no disrespect towards it, but like they do a lot of like ferocious shit, like crank your neck and things like that.
Well, I like to think of. I always tell people, man, we used to do. It was like catch wrestling with the gi, bro.
Catch wrestling, yeah.
Because everything was kind of like brute. Everything was force. Everything was pressure. We kind of like break guard, use the elbow. You know what I mean? Like. And that's kind of what I was telling you. Like when I used to roll with people that weren't from Rangel, see, like I would actually like put my elbow in their neck, would kind of like, hey,
they're like, hey, what the?
Yeah, and so I would like that was what I would use to create space. But of course, it was frowned upon from what it seemed like by a lot of people, man. But for me, my Rangel's style made more sense because if it's a real life situation, then yeah, man, you kind of have to be pressured on, or you gotta have to be more. I mean, from my perspective, be a lot more alert and more ready to. Do some damage.
I used to roll with Cabral all the time, Nogi, and he definitely, like, the way he would put submissions and stuff, it would make me have to, like, react a whole lot differently than I normally would.
No, I mean, dude, I always give Mike a lot of, props, dude, because, I mean, I used to roll when I was a purple belt with him, under him, and I used to roll with other purple belts, man, like from the Hensel affiliation or Gracie Baja, and I would always get, like, good nods, like, damn, dude, that was good, man, like, where do you train? And I would tell them, and they're like, well, who's this guy? And a lot of people knew who Mike was. But
well, Mike used to train with like Tito Ortiz and shit back in the day, right?
Bro. Yeah, he's actually trained with a lot of. He's actually cross-trained with a lot of good people.
I remember being like a young ass kid on the Texas MMA website, scrolling through all the pictures and seeing Mike with Tito and things like that, Sausalise and stuff.
And the Texas MMA website, dude. Of course, everybody was on there, man, and it was one of those where you had to scroll down like 10 days just to get the freaking date on. Those things were frustrating as hell, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. You're like, you know what, dude? I would call people like, hey man, what's this going on? Because it was pretty bad. But of course, now social media freaking blew up, and everybody got on Facebook and now Instagram. I guess. Are you more on Facebook or Instagram?
I think I'm more so active on Instagram. I used to be on Facebook a lot more, but honestly, dude, like a lot of negativity and stuff, it just doesn't do well for me any longer. I don't know if it's like my old age or what, but I start seeing negativity. I get anxious, I get anxiety, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, screw Facebook.
You see,
there's so much drama on there too, though. I was like,
and I guess because even Aaron, once again, I'm gonna keep bringing him up, man. His ears are probably ringing and shit. But he was saying the same thing, that he's more like, because Instagram is kind of just you, and of course people chime in and jump in, but yeah, man, Facebook, it's like I can put like, hey, have a good day, and I'll get like 100, like, man, what the fuck, like people are just upset because they're miserable. They want to put something on there, man, and the trolls come out, and it gets ugly, bro. I mean, it's kind of. I don't blame you for being on Instagram a lot more. I definitely got to start going on there a little bit more myself.
Yeah.
What other plugs are you on, man?
I'm just on Instagram, Facebook. I have. That's about it. I have Snapchat and stuff like that, but I really don't use Snapchat unless I'm
Are you on Twitter?
I am, but I'm not active on it.
I was gonna say, because I look up people and I'm like, dude, nobody's been there for years, bro. So I don't know if that just kind of got, pushed aside. But we'll see, man. TikTok, man. No, yes.
No TikTok. I go through and look at the videos and stuff, but not on any TikTok. No, I'm getting to where though, like, I'm getting to where like I'm making a little bit more videos and stuff. So I want to start doing like breakdowns and stuff like that. Like I haven't got around to it, but I was gonna break down my submission that I won. That way I could like give the commentators or whoever like how you get that choke, you know.
And I was gonna say, and I always tell people about TikTok. I mean, of course, it's disturbing. A lot of the stuff on there I don't get myself, probably because I'm old. But I like it for the fact that you can actually edit a lot of video. You can add sound. You can add with it without having any copyright infringement, and you can put it on YouTube, and you get a lot more permission with it. But I mean, I would definitely get on that just for that. That way you can start doing a tutorial, or what I mean, like actually start throwing stuff out there, man.
Right.
Now let me ask you, man. As far as employment, man, what do you do right now?
I work by the airport. It's called San Antonio Aerospace. They basically work. Like it's a separate company from the airport, but we basically, you know, when they bring airplanes in and they tear them down, and so we get all the parts and stuff and send them where they need to go. We get all new parts in. We take them to whatever planes. We work with like all kind of airlines, even Drake Air. Sometimes,
really?
Yeah.
Damn. And I mean, because of that, do you get a discount?
Nah, heck no.
I was gonna say, man, yeah.
They don't get shit. Barely get paid. Hell.
I mean, of course, the boss ain't listening.
Yeah.
So. But man, I mean, as far as like you said, I mean, long time goals or longer time goals, should I say? I mean, in 5 years, man, what are you thinking, man?
In 5 years, I'm probably gonna have my own school. I can't really be doing this 9 to 5 all the time and trying to train and follow my passion and stuff like that. Like, I need to make money for myself, you know, not be making other people money.
No, for sure, man. And I mean, of course, I mean, being self-employed, man. I mean, myself, it's scary because I mean, bills don't stop, right? So you gotta. I mean, once you commit, you're like, that's it. Now you gotta go out there and make money. But I mean, it would make more sense because even if you open a studio or open we're able to find a spot and kind of start teaching, man. I mean, you know, you can set your schedule, man, and that's kind of what helps you and your goals because obviously you want to keep training, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I do private lessons right now. I'm barely starting to get back to doing that, and so I'll travel to people got a garage, I'll go there, or like sometimes I can do them out of USA. It just depends on the time frame and stuff.
And let me ask you, because on something like that, man, I mean, people just reach out to you like via
Facebook?
Yeah,
they can DM me Facebook, Instagram, and I do hour sessions, 45-minute sessions, and then I also do a discount. You get like 5 sessions or 10 sessions at a time.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, makes sense. Definitely. And let me ask you, because I was teaching at one time, and I mean, I would have guys that weren't training or wouldn't train, and they'd be like, "Hey, man, show me how to do the submission," and I would show them. You know, I'm like, "Yeah, well, you gotta be careful. You know, just chokes and just like small stuff. You know." But and they're always like, "Oh man, well, you know, how much would you charge me to show me?" And I'm like, "Nah, I won't charge you anything, dude. But if you want to learn how to get out of it, you got to pay, bro." Because I mean that, you know, everybody wants to learn the armbar, everybody, but I mean, you don't learn it properly, so it's done to you because now you know, like crap, you know, the pressure. You got to be careful, man, because you can literally hurt somebody. But and then let me ask you real quick, man. Back when you first started training, were you involved with any like underground fighting or any? I mean, you know, as far as not street fights, but you know, just people.
Yeah, no, I had a couple little fights in Gonzales. Had those pancration fights, you know, basically underground, but never done any like garage stuff like that. Not totally. I wouldn't been totally opposed to it. Like whatever pays money. I'm down to do anything, man. I'm a fighter for real. Like if it's a fight, I'm down to try it out. You know.
And with that being said, man, because obviously you have one more fight in your Fury FC contract.
Right.
Now, and not to say that you wouldn't get another one, of course, right? But I mean, your options are going to be open, man. So I mean, what other platforms would you want to get into, man?
Man, I'd like to. Eric's taking care of me right now. As long as I can keep getting some good fights and he's taking care of me money wise, I'm happy with like what I've been getting paid so far. I think he's really fair with me. I sell a decent amount of tickets, so I'm good. If I was to get another contract, I'd be fine. But I am also like one of those guys that I got 6 wins, 8 losses. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely am trying to pick the right fights. You know what I mean? Right. So I've won 3 of my last 4 fights. You know, I figure I'd throw a couple more together. I have a case for possibly if I can beat a guy like David Waters or even beat one of those guys. You know, who knows? I could fight for the Fury title. Yeah. It could happen. And,
no,
you know,
definitely, man.
It's a goal. You know what I mean? And with like I said, won 3 of my last 4. If I can put together a few more wins, get that record up a little bit, you know, the Contender Series isn't necessarily out of the question, or even though possibly trying my hand at getting the Ultimate Fighter. Like, there's guys that have been on the Ultimate Fighter that fought this weekend and got knocked the hell out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm no worse than those guys, so shit, give me a chance, man.
You see,
I've been putting in my time, you know?
Yeah, you see, and a lot of it, of course, I mean, you know, I'm not going to say it's who you know, but even if you're training at the right gym with the right people, man, those things kind of do happen, man. But yeah, man, I mean, you're right, man, because there's even if you were to go 8-8 and then get an opportunity, man, like you're somebody you cross train with, man. You mentioned earlier Eddie Friday. Now this guy, I mean, he was coming off a few losses. Yeah, me and Aaron, once again, man, we talked about it, and we're like, you know what, man, if you were to pick up a nice little win streak, man, like, there's no doubt that he can get picked up. You know what I mean? Because, I mean...
Oh, yeah, for sure. And one of his losses, the only real loss Eddie actually has on... I mean, he's got the 2 losses, of course, but the one he fought in the Valley, man, he won that fight. He hit the dude so many times and hit the dude so hard that the guy didn't even know where he was. Yeah. And they gave that guy the split decision. I know he had a rough fight against that kid. What's his name? I don't even know his name. He fought 125 this past weekend. Right. Eddie had a tough fight with him, and Eddie said he wasn't himself. I'm pretty sure they run that back. That's a different fight too.
No, and maybe they will, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets that opportunity.
Paris Morin was his name. Yeah. Paris Morin. Yeah.
You see, now, when it comes to teammates like that, because you mentioned, man, I mean, of course, you get to roll with Eddie Friday, who I'm pretty sure is fast as hell when it comes to grappling.
Fast and strong.
Yeah, for sure, man. And, I mean, being able to train with somebody like him and then go up and train with somebody like Ray with a little bit, like a higher weight class, or just, you know, but it helps, right?
Yeah.
I mean, getting people like that, man, the experience. Now, who's been your toughest training partner to date, man? Or not toughest, but somebody that you can kind of like, you know what, this guy's going to push me to where, like, test yourself.
Well, so Eddie pushes me really hard. Ray is probably the guy that pushes me the absolute most. When I wasn't working during the day, man, me and him used to get some crazy sessions in the morning. Like, we'd have someone on video. We've had sessions even with, like, CJ and bunch of other guys that would come and train in those morning sessions when Ray was getting ready for the UFC, and those were hard. And then I've trained with Alex and stuff like that. Alex is a workhorse. His practices were ridiculous whenever he used to run them too.
You see, and I've been there when Ray's been teaching, and I've seen, and I can say, yeah, bro, like he'll drill the shit out of you, bro. Like I brought this up the last time too, man. But he'll push you to where, like, if you're not sure you want to fight, man, more than likely you won't. You know what I mean? Like, he really he'll test you physically and mentally.
Yeah, exactly.
And obviously that helps, man, because, I mean, everybody wants to be a fighter, but if you get there and the lights fucking shine on you and you start stressing out, man, you're going to lose, bro.
Yeah, and sometimes that takes a while for people to get over. Like, it took me damn near a long-ass time to finally now when I get in the cage, like, I'm just, like, cool, and I'm totally zoned in as before.
Yeah, bro.
I would be tripping out. Like, I'd be, man, how hard's this dude in the head? I'd look across, be like, damn, he's kind of big. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of stuff doesn't bother me no more.
You're like, what sponsors he got?
Yeah.
He's got this guy's back.
Yeah.
But, man, let me ask you, as far as sponsors, man, who sponsored you for this past fight?
Man, I don't have any sponsors. I didn't really try to get any or anything. I just been worried about fighting. But, man, I wouldn't turn any down. Like, if some sponsor came around and wanted to support me, I'd be down for the support, and like, but we could get together and figure out how it's going to benefit us both, you know what I mean? Because I know, like, some sponsors, they feel like they don't get what they're paying for, you know, and I understand that. Like, a lot of times people charge about $300. That's a lot of money. Yep. You know, some people charge $600, you know, it just depends on what.
I've seen people ask for, like, 1,000.
Yeah, it depends what platform they're on. It depends how many followers they got, things like that.
No, you see, and for the most part, it's true, man. Because I mean, the more followers you get, I mean, of course, you know, there's tons of them out there, man. But I mean, influencers. What somebody mentioned the other day, and I was thinking, okay, well, obviously they have enough fans, I mean, the people watching, you know, for them to actually push product, man. So it helps.
And a lot of people, like, they need to think too. Like, a lot of sponsors, they throw especially if it's on UFC Fight Pass, they throw a logo on your shorts. Not only is it going to show that night, but when they post it on YouTube, you know, they'll see the for the rest of the time that video's on YouTube, the whole life, like it's going to show their logo.
Definitely, man. And
you'll spend like $300 or $400 on some tags to throw on windshield. And they'll fly off on the highway, you know.
No, it's true. And I was gonna say, man, because it's not like it used to be with flyers. You know, I mean, people still do it, but for the most part, everything's digital. You know, everything's on their phone. The other day, I was talking to one of the guys, and we were saying, like, dude, it's funny because, I mean, back then, I mean, I had a watch, I had a CD player, I had all this stuff on me, and now it's like my phone's just doing everything. You know, got everything on there, man. And let me ask you, bro, as far as have you ever been training or been doing something and you're thinking like, you know what, man, has there ever been an idea that you had that maybe you wanted to invent, like whether it's for training or for work or for anything like that?
I have an idea,
and
I'm not gonna say it, but I heard your podcast yesterday, and the guy was talking about how he used to beat the streets and hustle the air fresheners, right? But I don't have an idea. It's an air freshener, but it's not an air freshener like he's talking about. It's something to do with, like, you know, like jiu-jitsu, MMA and stuff. And so now I'm pondering in my mind, I was like, you know what, he's right. You know, about the things he was saying about, like, how he was selling them, giving people deals, and I'm thinking, man, maybe I can come up with something that can benefit, you know, MMA, jiu-jitsu, something small like that I could, like, hustle, because, you know, I know a lot of people in the community, and maybe I can hustle that stuff, and if it works out, like, maybe I can create, like, some kind of business or hustle off of it.
Dude, there's so much opportunity, and I'm real big on that, only because there's so many times in my life that I'm like, damn, you know what, if only this had this on it, and then I see it a year later, and I'm like, damn, you know, and
it's kind of like Tiavaso, that guy who fought, he has the shoe he traps in. Did you see that? It's like a croc with a spout. A drink ladder. That's funny.
And that's, I mean, dude. I mean, who's to say he might be the next heavyweight champion? Maybe he got to pick up and go start selling those stuff.
Yeah, I didn't expect him to beat Derek Lewis. No. I thought Derek was going to be a little bit more explosive, but Tai Tiavaso is the real deal, man.
Bro, a lot of people were saying that Derek didn't look himself going into that fight.
Could be fighting at home, you know. To be honest, I ain't never want to fight at home until last Sunday. I was always, like, nervous of fighting at home, just because all my friends bought tickets to come watch. Like, it's a lot of pressure on you.
No, I can't lose.
Yeah.
They're going to want a refund and shit.
Right, you know, things like that. So I think it might be a little anxiety from fighting at home.
Now, I'm not sure how many, like, what his contract pertains as far as what he has left, man. But I mean, obviously the guy's proven a lot, dude. I mean, he came from nothing. I mean, I know he had a run-in with the law. He was a former football player, and now, you know, back when he started training with Tony Silverback out there in Houston area. You know, even Tony. I mean, I used to talk to the guy. You know, he passed away years ago, man. But I used to talk to him, and he was always like, "Yeah, dude, I just want to get the biggest, toughest, motherfuckers out here, dude. Just show them how to fight, show them technique." And he did. You know, Derek was one of them. In, huh? And I mean, look at him now, man. The guy's made millions. He's made sponsorship.
He'll definitely be in the Hall of Fame and retire from the UFC. Don't he have like the most knockouts or something?
Well, he did. I think, but he does, because I think the last time would have been 13, I believe.
Yeah, he has like the most knockouts in the heavyweight. You know, when he hits people, like Jeremy Stevens said, they don't fucking move.
Yeah. It's just like you can do stand there and fucking see what happens, man. But bro, I mean, as of right now, you don't have any use as far as upcoming fights, right?
No, not at the moment.
And now, as far as tournaments, like you said, you would be up for it if somebody were to...
Yeah, I would. I'd do a sub-hunter or you know, any kind of little tournament that's coming around. I definitely want to do that, test myself.
No, by all means, man. And my man, happy birthday.
I appreciate it,
bro. I wish you the best. I didn't get you a gift, man, but maybe I'll start a GoFund and I'll get something going so you can buy you lunch. But bro, I want to thank you, man, for stopping by, of course, man, and keep me posted, man. If anything else comes up, or even touch base with me and maybe make a drive to Gonzales and see what's out there, bro. Yeah. I've never been out there, so
they got good barbecue and stuff.
Yeah, bro, man. Let me know, man. Honestly, dude, I'll go out there. I drive outside the city when it comes to deliveries, but I looked up Gonzales and I said, okay, I've never been out there. It was a good drive, But keep me posted, man, and until next time, bro.
I appreciate y'all having me.
Anything you want to say before we wrap this up?
I just appreciate you having me and always like wanting me to come on here. It means a lot that how you bring all the guys that really don't get a lot of exposure out here, because I feel like since you've been doing this, and then Aaron and everyone else that's popping up with their podcast, like, I'm starting to gain a lot more followers. I'm starting to, like, you know, have new people, like, having my back and stuff, and that's pretty cool, man. So
no,
yeah.
and this is how it starts, man. That's why I always tell everybody, bro. I mean, whatever opportunity you get for an interview or write-up, I mean, take it, because somebody's going to be reading it somewhere, and they're going to be like, man, who is this guy? I want him to fight, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And if anyone wants any private lessons or anything, you know, they can hit me up. If they can't get to me, hit you up. You can get in touch with me, or you know, whatever. Anybody looking for opening up a gym, need an MMA coach or something like that, hit me up, because this is what I want to do to make my money. I want to pay my bills with this, you know.
No, for sure, man. And I'm right by you, man. But definitely, man. That's actually I'm gonna push for that. You know, if I can find something myself, I'll let you know.
Right.
And keep you posted, bro.
I appreciate you, man.
Everybody out there, Chris Kuntschik. This is Spider DeFi Car Podcast. As always, follow up, subscribe, go to our YouTube channel, our Facebook and Instagram. Till next time, follow up.